Hello everyone, welcome to AI Anytime channel. And in today's video, we are going to create basically an application. I will not use the word create. We are going to develop an app, a web app where we can have human-like conversation on your data. Now this the data that we are going to consider in this video is an Excel sheet, where we have the tickets, so the customer support tickets, and the use case that we are looking at it is that we are trying to derive some kind of information or retrieve some kind of information or insights on top of your data, and the entire application will be on Microsoft Azure. So from your the entire end-to-end that deployment that will have, everything will happen on Azure. So we will start with something called Azure Cognitive Search. We're going to use the cognitive service of Microsoft Azure to basically create the index of your data. So we're going to index the data. We are going to create index. So basically indexing will happen, and from there we will also deploy a large language model, GPT 3.5 Turbo in this case, that too on Azure. So we're going to combine Azure OpenAI and the capabilities of cognitive search service on Microsoft Azure, and then we'll deploy it on an app service. So it will be entirely on Microsoft Azure. If your data is already available on blob storage or SQL database, wherever it's on Azure, you can just also do that. So end to end it will be on Microsoft Azure. And the reason I'm creating this video is because it will help you create production level application when it comes to large language model or generative AI. Because for example, if you have your entire data on Microsoft Azure already, then it's better option to have something like cognitive search and LLM GPT 3.4 combine it together to retrieve some kind of information, to build something like knowledge GPT, ticket GPT, sales copilot, market GPT, whatever GPT you name it. That's what we are going to do in this case. So if you see currently on my screen, it has something called ticketgpt.azurewebsites.net, Azure AI. Where I have asked some questions, and then I have answers and some citations. So you're also getting the source citations. So we are also finding out that from which document this information has been retrieved. You can see there I asked a question: does any ticket has battery life issue? It says yes, there are some complaints about battery life issues in the retrieved documents, and then it gives you the number of citations or references. Now this currently runs within the Azure app service, and I haven't changed anything on the UI and UX standpoint, but you can also do that. The code is available on the GitHub repository, and I'll share that in the link in the description. So this is what we are going to build. So we are going to combine the cognitive search with the LLM. The reason we are doing is because we are also trying to find out the answers only from the data that we have. So it's better to go and look at the indexed data, the indexing that we have done to retrieve the information from that index. Index data that is. So it helps you control the LLM responses. Most of the time people complain that they are getting answers even outside of their data or the knowledge base that they have, because model also has, the foundational model also has their base knowledge, the base data that they have, right? So sometimes it's difficult, right, to handle it. There are other ways of doing it that I'm working on it. I'm going to come up with videos like RAIL, Reliable AI Markup Language, that how we can use RAIL to basically control the LLM responses. But in this video, we are going to see how we can use the Azure services, because Microsoft Azure being one of the most I'll say the most prominent cloud nowadays when it comes to large language model, because they have their GPT stack already on Microsoft Azure cloud. So this is what we are going to build. So let's build it, guys. So let's start building it. So let's create the Azure Cognitive Search instance, guys. So I'm gonna search here something called Cognitive Search. You can see I'm just doing it, Cognitive Search. Now if you come on this Azure AI services, so Cognitive Search is one of their Azure AI services, and basically GPT models on Azure are also part of Azure AI services. So they have different things. You can see all of the AI services on Azure in the left hand side, and one of the flagship is Azure OpenAI, of course. That's a huge deal, right? Microsoft has invested in OpenAI. and you have Azure OpenAI Cognitive Search. If you want to do something with computer vision, then you use computer vision. If you want to use Face API, then you use Face API. So it depends what kind of task that you want to execute, right? And what kind of use cases that you are working on. So here we are going to focus on cognitive search. This will fuel our, basically the grounded generation, or the retrieval augmented generation task, basically on the knowledge GPT or information retrieval task that we have. Okay, whatever you call it, there are a lot of terminologies that people are using it interchangeably. But we are going to click on cognitive search. You can see we are on cognitive search. It says no search services to display. Create search service. Now what I'm going to do here, I'm going to create a search service, and let's have a resource, like maybe we can have a GPT model, or let's create a new resource maybe, or let's call it AI resource or something like this. Okay, and I want to call this AI resource, and let's give this a name, service a name. We can give this, for example, AI anytime search or something. This is what I'm gonna give it to it. It says pricing tier 25 GB per partition, max 12 replicas, max changing price. If you see, I'm currently on standard. You can see the different pricing tier over here. Now it depends on what kind of search unit cost. It's little costly. Cognitive search is little expensive per month. Okay, it depends on the type of storage and partition that you have. You can see it starts from free, where you have 3 indexes, and then you have basic, then you have standard, right, indexers and all. I'll go with the basic plan here. Okay, that's what I'm going to select, and I click on basic, which give me 2 GB storage, max 3 replicas, max 1 partitions, max 3 search units. That's what I'm going to do here in this case. Okay, basic. Now what I'm going to do here, click on next scale. Replicas distribute work across the bigger internet. I don't need it for now. Okay, so I'll just do next networking, tags, and review and create. So what I'm going to do here is, when you click on review, it will first do validation in progress. It will see if this makes sense that you are having within your subscription. If you have all the permissions and all to create this search service. That's why you can see the validation in progress. And this is mainly for guys. If your data is already on Azure, if you're working at in an IT company or an AI first company or a startup where when your client data is already on Azure, or if they want to use Azure services, Azure as a cloud, Azure as a hyperscaler within their VPC, virtual private cloud, then these kind of things make sense. If you are doing it for hobby or pet projects, I would probably not recommend it, right, to be honest. But this makes sense if you're really doing something on the enterprise level. This is a good way of doing things, and it's a good approach, to fuel your information retrieval through cognitive search, because it's really good. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Now let's create. Now once you click on create, you can see it says initializing deployment. It says initializing template deployment to resource group AI resource. It will take a little time, so what I will do, I'm going to pause the video over here, and once it gets completed, I will resume the video from there. Okay, cool. So now you guys can see that our deployment has been succeeded successfully, and that's fantastic. That's that. I always say, you can take it in any way, but cloud is easy, guys. Cloud is easy. Cloud is self-explanatory. You don't need a training on cloud to be honest, but of course experience helps, but you can learn any cloud you want. Okay. And now if you see over here that our AI anytime search, the search service, the Azure Cognitive Search, has been successfully, we have created a service, and now we can do pretty much whatever we want to do from a search standpoint. Now you can see they have some options. Connect your data. You can connect the SQL, the Cosmos, the Azure Blob Storage directly with this cognitive search as well, and you can explore later on. You can see import data, the search explorer, a lot of other options within this, and basically that's what we are going to do in this. We're just going to take a data set or CSV or Excel to try to index that. We're looking at the indexing route, and once we have indexed it, we will basically use a large language model, which is Azure GPT in this case, to basically perform some retrieval out of it, retrieval task basically, right? So, and maybe you can also check out AWS Open Search Service. I rate that higher than this, to be honest, because they have vector databases integration into it. Now they also have this vector databases into it, and that's their one of the flagship offering nowadays. So you can also explore, if you're on AWS, you can look at AWS Open Search Service. I was using it, I really loved it, to be honest. But anyway, we are on Azure today, so we'll talk about Microsoft Azure here. So you can see in the left hand side we have search management, and within that search management we are going to click on indexes, because now we have to add an index that we will handle it programmatically. We'll start pushing our data into it, and then we'll create the indexing and store it in this search service. That's what we're gonna do. Now if you see, we need a data for it, right? Which data we can take? So I'm gonna take this customer support ticket data set. The reason is because in the IT industry right nowadays, in the IT companies, in the most of the companies, the enterprises, they are looking at how they can basically handle these agile tools, the agile tool system that they have, Jira, the ServiceNow, etc. They have a lot of ticketing system where they have to spend a lot of effort and time and the manpower to look at those tickets and try to solve those tickets, or try to analyze those, a lot of other things that they are trying to do on those agile tools. Now we're looking at a similar approach. We have a similar kind of a data, which is customer support ticket data set. It's an Excel sheet or a CSV or a spreadsheet, whatever. We are going to take this data set and try to create indexing out of it, and then we will we'll use large language model or GPT-3 models or 4 models to basically have a human-like conversation with it. That's the plan. So you can see that this ticket, it says that includes customer support tickets for various tech products. It consists of customer inquiries related to hardware issues, software bugs, network problems, account, etc., etc. And that's what we are going to see in this, right? So I have cleaned the data. You can see this is a clean data. I will give you the Colab notebook of this if you want to use the same data for your learning purpose. I will give that in the description. But I have cleaned the data, and the data was huge, so I restricted it to 2000 rows. Otherwise it will take a lot of time to create the indexing or index it. So this is the data, ticket ID, which I'm going to use this as my unique. I'm going to use this as a key. So that will help me, retrieve information, or later on I can just map out to this key and retrieve information for that particular key. So my ticket ID will be my key, which is integer in this case, but I will consider this as a string in the index. And then we have ticket type, ticket subject, ticket description, which we will focus more on, ticket status, ticket priority, ticket channel, etc., etc. Now, on the AI Anytime Search, Cogno Search, what I'm going to do here, click on Add Index. Once you click on Add Index, you can see it has an ID, which is the key of your entire search that you have. Basis on that, you can retrieve a lot of information related to it. So I'm going to just click on ID, and in ID, my ID will be like, okay, basically, this is how you're configuring it. That's a schema that you are defining, if you are doing it programmatically, to be honest. And so in this case, it's asking for field name. So if you see, the first field name is ticket ID. So I'm just going to use ticket ID, no spaces, by the way. In ticket ID, let's consider this as a string, and this becomes our key. Now let's click on all of this. So we can filter it out, we can sort this out, we can also create face tables. And now the option that we are interested in is the search table. We are going to search. So searchable, not sorry, search table. Excuse me. Searchable. So we have to search. So click on search, and once you click on search, this is, I like this service of Cognos. You have different type of languages that you can explore. Depends on what kind of data that you have, the language that you are looking at. Now I'm looking at English Microsoft. I need that one. So let me see, where is this? Now I'm going to click on English Microsoft, but if you need Bangla, for example, which is a regional language in India and Bangladesh or the Southeast Asia, right? Then you have Bulgarian, then you have Arabic, German, Danish, any language, depending on the data that you have, right? And you want to create the indexing of in those languages, by the way. You can do that as well. So I'm going to rely on English Microsoft. So let's do that, guys. So I'm going to click on save here. This is the first one. Now I'm click on add field for rest of it. So let me just do a ticket type here, the next one. So let me just do quickly ticket type. I hope I'm typing it right. Ticket type, idiom string. Let's click on all of it, guys. And once I click on all of it, searchable. Again, I'm gonna just do a English Microsoft thingy here. So let's just click on this. So I'm not going to do it all of it in this video. So let me just click on save. And what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna pause the video, and I will create this offline, and I will resume once I complete this, guys. So now you can see that we have created we have like all the field name covered inside this index. You can see all of our data over here, right? Ticket ID to ticket channel. You don't have to look at the spaces in between. You just have to define the schema, guys. That's it. You know, that's what you have to do. And we'll talk about schema engineering in maybe in the next video. We have to move out of prompt engineering to schema engineering, you know, to control hallucination and contextual retrieval that we talk about. But we'll talk that in the other video, guys. So now you can see that we have all of the field name over here, and the ticket ID is our key. You can see the key that based on that we can retrieve the information for all of these fields. And now what I'm going to do here is saying, okay, enter index name. I'm just going to enter something called my data index or something. Okay, let's call my data hyphen index, and I'm just going to click on create. So when you click on create, you can see all my analyzer are English Microsoft because it's in English. And you can see all of the configuration that we have done so far for all the fields within that Excel sheet. Now, if you have document, look at the collections, etc., different data types, that how you can do it. Depends what kind of data that you have, right? And that you can find it on the Azure Cognitive Search documentation as well. So let's now click on create. And you can see successfully added index my data index now here in the notification on the top right hand side. Now you can see we have my data index. The document count is 0 right now because, and the storage size is 0 because we haven't indexed our data yet. We will index it. Now you can click on delete if you want. I don't want to do that. Let's go inside it and see the same thing over here. Now you can see we have 0 byte, nothing is here, which makes sense because we haven't indexed our data yet. So now next thing is that we'll basically write the Python file, basically, you know, with you have to install a few libraries on the Azure thingy, and we'll write a Python file. We'll take this data, and then we'll create the indexing, guys, and we'll push it from up in a programmatical manner, right? So from on this data. So this data will be given in the link will be given in the description, and also I can share you a drive link or something that you can upload. But this is how your indexing look like. If you have done so far, so I think you are good to go for the next one as well. Let's go back to the folder, guys. You can see this is a folder that I have on my desktop. It's called Azure thingy, and I'm going to write all of my code within this. And the first thing that we have to do is that we have to basically, within this you can see all the fields over here in the fields, the search explorer. You can also search it later over here. We'll search. Now the first thing that we have to do, let me go inside VS Code. Let's create a Python file where we'll write a code for indexing this. So let me just plug in my headphone. Okay, we're gonna write a file. Let's call it indexing py or something like this. Okay. Now what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna write from azure.search. That's what I'm gonna need. So azure.search.documents, and I'm gonna import search client. So let's import that. So what I'm gonna do is search client. That's my first import. That's what we need. We need a search client basically, and you can see that I have a data folder. Within that I have that ticket data XLSX that I was showing, the data that we have taken from Kaggle. You feel free to take any data that you want, okay? Any type of data that you want, you feel free to do that. Okay. Now when I say any type of data, that makes sure that Cognos supports that, to be honest. Now Azure search documents, import search client. The next thing is that we need Azure key credentials. So from Azure .co.credentials, excuse me, there's a typo, co.credentials, import Azure key credential. That's it. So this is what we need from the Azure side, you know, to basically run this indexing py. I'm gonna also get pandas here, that we need pandas, you know, a little bit of to check that. So import pandas as PD and import regular expressions. So let's also have, if you want to clean the data a bit or something, or let's have JSON as well. Import JSON. What will you do without JSON in development, right? So Azure search documents, import search client, and core credentials to get Azure key credential. The first thing is, let's define our Azure Cognos. I'm writing Cognos, guys, you know, search setting or something like that. Okay, So the first thing is service name. What is the name of our service? So the service name is nothing, but I'm gonna keep this as we have our, what is that? I think it's AI anytime search, I guess, if I'm not wrong, but let's write it first, then we'll search. This is nothing but this thingy that you have. You see this AI anytime hyphen search and that index. So basically the service name that we have created. And the next thing is that, okay, we need an index name. So index name is nothing, but we're gonna give that index name. So my index name is, let's see, I think it's my data or something. My data hyphen index. So quickly, let me just write it down. My data index. The next thing will be admin key. We need a key to connect with that. So we need a admin key if you're given IAM role or something to, your teammates. That might be a little different for you. Let's go to key, and I'll just gonna take this primary admin key. I'm just gonna copy clipboard, come back to overview, indexes, and let's just go back here and paste it over there. I'll just, of course, I will delete this after this video, guys. It's an expensive affair, right? As I said, it's costly. Cognos, Mongos on Azure are really costly. This would reduce the price a bit, but it's okay. We don't have much of option, but it's fine. Then on the endpoint, the endpoint will be HTTPS, and that will be your service name. So we have our service name. So let's write our service name within this, and after service name dot search dot windows dot net. That's what it is. Okay, it's not AI anytime. Let me just remove AI anytime search for now. Okay, windows.net. Now we need a credential thingy here to use Azure key credentials. So let's have a constructor call. So credential, not credentials. Let's have a variable, and that's it. Azure key credential. Let's pass our admin key within that to authenticate with Cognos Cognitive Search. Sorry, Azure key credential admin key. So this is how we're defining our Azure Cognitive Search settings. And for you, all the values might get changed because you would have different name and configuration, etc. Now let's write a code to load our file. So load the Excel. So load the Excel data into a data frame or something. Okay, we're gonna load this in a data frame, guys. So what I'm gonna do here, file path. So file path is nothing, but we have our file path as data hyphen ticket data XLSX, and we have our df. Let's call it p.read Excel here. Read Excel, read Excel, and I think we are going good. File path, that's it. Now we load our df here, guys. Okay, df. Now let's initialize the client. Here. So the thing is, search client. So I'm gonna write a variable called search underscore client and search client, and within that search client I'm gonna pass my endpoint. My endpoint is nothing but the endpoint that we have defined on top, and our index name is nothing but that we have defined on top, and our credential is nothing but that we have defined on top. Pretty much simple, straightforward thing. Now let's write to upload data to the Cognos, right? Upload data to do a lot of typos, guys. Data to the Azure Cognos, and within this, what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna have an empty data list over here. So let's do that, and then we'll use iteration rows or ITR rows here. So what I'm gonna do here for let's do that. So in a row in df dot, so let's df dot, okay, it's right. So I'm using tab 9 as an auto completion. Df dot iter rows, you can also use kite, tab 9, copilot, etc. So df dot iter rows. Okay, now what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna append this data here. So how I'm gonna append it? Data dot append, and we're gonna write basically it's going to be a dictionary, and within that dictionary it's a key value pair. So let's just map this out. So the first thing is we're gonna use something called @search.client. So search, let me just do a control G here. Search.client, it's not search, it's search.action. So search.action, we're gonna have a search action, and search.action, and our thingy is upload. Okay, so we are saying okay, upload. And now next is that we map the field name with the actual field that we have an Excel sheet. So the first thing is, I think it's ticket ID. As far as I know, it's our key. And ticket ID, what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna say, okay, my first row you can see perfect. Right, it's able to take, that's why I'm using auto completion, you know, a little bit of the to make it faster, guys. And now the next thing will be your ticket. What was that? Let me just go back to the indexes and go back to field, and when we go to field, this is what, so ticket type. So let's copy ticket type here, and I'll just come back. I'm gonna paste ticket type here. So let's paste a ticket type and row, and you can see ticket type. Fantastic. The next is our true ticket subject. So let's just copy ticket subject from here, and let's paste it over here. Ticket subject, simple thing, guys, step by step. Row, and here we are also getting suggestion from tab 9. Perfect. Ticket subject. Now the next thing is ticket description. So let's just copy ticket description, and in ticket description, what I'm gonna do here, we're gonna have row, excuse me, this is not semicolon, by the way. I remember C language, you know, when I write semicolon, guys. Row ticket description, and the next is after ticket description, what do we have? We have ticket status here. So let's put down ticket status and end the status. This is how it will go to row and ticket status. Excuse me, ticket status, and then ticket priority. So let's just copy ticket priority, and inside this ticket priority, row ticket priority. Excuse me, it's suggesting, okay, suggesting, fine, ticket priority. And the next is, let me just see, ticket channel. The last one is ticket channel. Let's just copy ticket channel over here, and let's put ticket channel and row, and just put ticket channel. That's it. Okay, we are done with this, guys, at least with the appending the empty data list that we have on top. Now let's have something as an info here. So I'm gonna do is result. So result is, for example, search client dot upload document. I think it's upload underscore documents. Have we uploaded something? Upload document, upload documents, and within that I'm gonna pass my data here that we have all the rows in the data. Let's print result. Print result. Okay. Now let me, or maybe I can also write. Let's write upload result or something like this, and then I'm gonna just pass this, guys. Upload result. Something like this. Result. This is fine. Now what we are doing here, let me explain this code quickly. We have imported all the required dependencies, libraries, whatever you call it. Then we have our Cognitive Search settings, you know, service name, index, admin, endpoint, whatever. Load the Excel file path df, initialize the client, upload data to Azure Cognitive, and then we have just mapping the field that we have in this index with the actual field that we have in that Excel sheet. Okay, that's what we are doing in this case. Now we're going to run this file, guys. Let me open the folder, guys, so we can run this up. So let me just go back to home, and within my desktop and Azure thingy, and let me just open that in terminal. I'm gonna activate my LangChain environment. If you have seen my videos, I have an env, because I use Conda on Linux, and I have an env called LangChain. I am a huge advocate of LangChain. LangChain do have a few production issues, bugs when we tried deploying in production a few of the proof of concepts that we have built, and we have seen that it has production issues. But without LangChain, I think the entire ecosystem of generative AI from a development standpoint will be too messy. LangChain does all the heavy lifting, and the creator of LangChain, I forgot the person's name, I think it's Harrison Chase, if I'm not wrong, so kudos to him. And within that, what I'm going to do here is, let me just go back to code, and you can see we're going to run this here, and don't worry about the API keys and all, because I'm gonna delete that, of course, after the video. So let's run this, guys, and we're gonna see gonna append. But I just recalled something which I think that we will get an error if you can see the ticket ID that we have. We have to make this string, because we are expecting this as a string there. that field that we have right now. If you do it, I think it will throw an error like integer, we can't make it a key or something. You'll get some error. So better to put that in a string right here. You can also do it in some other ways if you want. Now let's run this. So for me, it will be a little faster because I have less files in my Excels, but if you have bigger Excel sheet, it will take time to index the data. So what I'm going to do here in this case, I'm just going to run this probably to save some time. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to say, okay, Python indexing.py. Okay. Now let me just do that, and let me just minimize this for now. Okay, minimize this for now. Let me just come back, and you can see that we have our indexing, guys. Now you can see that our indexing was pretty fast because we have less files, as I said. Okay, we have around like how much, around 2000 rows or something. You can see all of those, we have printed it out. And if I go back to here, just to refresh this, now when I refresh it, you can see 2000 documents. It looks like a document, a collection, right? In Cognos, and storage is 2.12 MB. And you can see here on options, let's go to fields. In the fields, you can find all the field name and the search explorer where we are more interested in. So we can do a query string. Let's see the whole reason of doing this, guys, is that we are trying to control the grounded generation. No, not control the grounded generation. We are trying to control the LLM to not return the response from outside or the base model. Okay, the base model that it has, like the learnings, the patterns that the large language model has seen in the training steps, or whatever he has, the large language model has learned. We are trying to restrict the responses to our context, our data, our knowledge base. And that's why I think Cognos helps to fuel that large language model in that case. And that's why we're going to also explore in this video. And I'm also exploring with you. It's such a new technology. Trust me, nobody is an expert when it comes to generative AI. It's an entire black box when it comes to large language model. Imagine having 7 billion or 7 billion parameters, data points floating, right, in a space. If you have studied transformers, eigenspace or eigenvector, you will know what I'm talking about, right? So difficult to explain a large language model, so let's forget about it. But we're still trying, we all are trying. It's an immature technology right now, and that's why we have to learn it together. So if you see query string, now within this query string, let's ask some question. I'll ask a question. Okay, show me some tickets. Show me some tickets related to refund issues or something like this. I don't know, I'm just searching with you. Okay, so if this is my query, okay, and right now what it will do, it will retrieve from the indexing. You can see the show me some tickets related to refund issues. This is what our data context, you can read it out the value, and we are getting all the values in a JSON here. You can see ticket ID, we also have the ID, and that's why we need this ID if you want to present in a good way on a UI, and that I'll explain later. And then you have ticket type, product inquiry, network problem, etc. I have an S issue with something like that. Okay, now it's okay. We have battery life. Okay, let's write now. Okay, list the tickets which has battery life issue, which has battery life problems, or something like this. Okay, this is what I'm gonna click on search, and you can see the battery life ticket subject we are getting. So you can filter it out, you can query it. For query, filtering, sorting, it's all good. Cognos are good. We are looking at a human-like conversation. So let's do it, guys. So that's what I'm gonna do. So this code will be given to you again on my GitHub repository, that how to do indexing programmatically from your local or a remote machine on your cognitive service. Okay, and now what I'm gonna do on home is I'm gonna on Azure OpenAI and create Azure OpenAI. I'm going to create something on Azure OpenAI. So let's see that. And I'm going to call it AI Anytime GPT. And resource group, I'm going to call it GPT models. Pricing tier standard. And I'm going to click next. I'll go a little fast because I have seen this in my previous video as well. One of the video, I'll give the link in description if you are looking for a beginner video on Azure OpenAI, you can do that. Okay, you can go through that video and see. So I'm creating this. It will take a little time. So let it happen. So we are done with cognitive. So we have taken a data. Okay, I'll give you the notebook file if you want to take the same data. We have indexed that on Azure Cognitive Service. Now what are we going to do is, now we are going to basically use a large language model to have a human-like conversation on top of our data that we have. So let's do that, guys. So I'm just gonna do it. Okay. So you can see its deployment is in progress. So it will take a little time. So I'll come back once it gets complete. And here we go, guys. We have a successful AI Anytime GPT, which is Azure OpenAI. For Azure OpenAI, I assume that you need a business domain to get the access of Azure OpenAI services. I don't think it's publicly available. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's not available as an like, for example, on a personal email ID or a Gmail ID, or you need a, if I'm not wrong, you need a business ID or something to get Azure OpenAI service. I haven't checked it recently. Let me know if they have changed some policies or something like that. Now you can see I'm more interested in go to Azure OpenAI Studio. Let's go to Azure OpenAI Studio from here, and we need a model deployment. We'll deploy GPT 3.5 Turbo or Turbo, whatever. You can see it says deployment, create new deployments. If you come to models, I have access to all of these models right now. You can see these are the base model that I can use. So I have 3.5 Turbo, 16K embeddings, and I have access to all of these model versions, etc. Now on deployments, I'll click on new deployments. You have to deploy a model. So let's select a model. I'm gonna use Turbo here, and it's okay. Deployment name AI Anytime mod GPT, or let's call it AI Anytime model. Okay, this is what I'm gonna call it. Create, and in submitting deployment, it successfully created deployment. No, it's fast, right? That's why they have the infrastructure to scale this up. Now you can see I have an AI Anytime model where I have GPT 3.5 Turbo model, and I have deployment and capacity and all of those things, right? Rate limit and also this is what. So these are the things that we need. Let me just go back to guys on I want to go back on, I don't know, I think I have to open a new portal here. Portal Microsoft. Okay, so now what we have done so far, this is going to be a lengthy video, guys, to be honest. I have to invest a little time on that to learn and master the skills here on this one. So we started with cognitives, and now we have moved to GPT, and that will just include it down. So let me go to AI Anytime Search, and you can see the indexes over here. Let me just go to indexes, and this my data index, and you can see it over here, right? Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna create an app where we'll utilize this deployment. Let me go to model. We're going to use this AI Anytime model. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do now. Okay, to have an app that will basically will help you query this with references and all, guys. Okay, so now you can see, right, let's after deployment here on the Azure deployment. Now the next step is to have some kind of app where we can have a human-like conversation, right? So we'll start with the playground. Now what do we mean by playground, guys? Here we have OpenAI playgrounds, right? You would have seen it on OpenAI dashboard. Now here on the, if you go to chat in the playground, if you see the chat here, they also have something called DALI and completions engines that you can also explore. If you are interested in image generation, you can look at DALI. So on the chat here, we have something called add your data, which is in preview mode right now, but that's fine. It says ask questions about your own data. Now you have your enterprise data, which is already sitting in blob storage or Mongoose or SQLite or SQL, wherever on Azure, right? Azure IoT or wherever it is. Okay. Now you can connect all of your data, okay, first to cognitive services, and from there you can add a data source. Now if I can add a data source here, you can see your data is stored securely in your Azure subscription. So when you have a subscription, you make sure that you have basically a subscription which is which provides you a VPC, right, virtual private cloud. Okay, and within that, again, that's too much. There's so many sub components within it. You have a subnet, you have ingestion pipeline, you have networks, a lot of other things within that. So we're not going to talk on the architectural level of how VPC and how these have been deployed within your own subscription that you have, but just to make sure that okay, it works, it's very good for enterprises. Okay, if your data is already sitting on Azure, there's no problem using this entire service. Now when you click on add a data source, in this data source you can see it says select or add data sources. Your data source is used to help ground the model with specific data. Select an existing Azure Cognitive Search index. So we already have that index for our ticketing data that we have. So what I'm going to do here in this case, select data source. On select data source, I'm going to click on Azure Cognitive Search. You can also click on blob storage, or you can also have upload files. But I am doing I'm taking a route of creating index that will fuel my large language model, because I want to make it a very contextual, right? I want that to in that context and only retrieve the information from that. Now when I click on Azure Cognitive Search, let's keep this, pay as you go, the subscription that I have. You can see it was our cognitive search service, AI anytime search. When you click on that, right now I have one index. You will probably have many other indexes as well, right, within that. So I'm just going to click on my data index, the single index that I have, but you can create a lot of other index for your documents, for your Excel, CSV, spreadsheet, XML, JSON, etc., right? You can have different indexes. You can bring it all together. Okay. Now I acknowledge that connecting will incur users to my account. That's fine. I'm going to do next. File name, title. Let's keep this for now. It's okay. Let's do next. Don't do anything over there. It's fine. I'm okay with it. Not required. Now you can see if you're okay with it, just do save and close. Now when I do save and close, now you can see we can see something here. Okay, Azure Cognitive Search, AI Anytime Search, Index, My Data Index. This has been added. Okay, over here. Now you can also click on View Code. They have basically have this code viewer or something that we earlier used to see, right, in OpenAI Playground. And that's what they have also created something similar. Okay, so you can see it over here. We'll talk about it. Past messages include 10 session settings. So they have a session also where they're storing all of this in session. Current token count, input token progress. You can see all of the parameters, inference parameters over here. Message history, user query, system message, few sort examples. If you want to put few sort prompting, max response, estimated max tokens, and something like that. And then you can go to parameters. You can again have top P penalties if you are not getting good result. Put penalty higher, so model can look at that. Put a temperature value if you want to be more, if you're expecting a creative response or randomness, and max response is fine. Okay, or deployment. Okay, you can see it over here. Start chatting. Test your assistant by sending queries below. So I'll ask. Okay, so what I'm gonna write now, I'm going to ask list down all the list all the common issues in my tickets. You can say I found some common issues in your tickets. Now these include hardware issues, display issues, software bugs, payment issues, and billing inquiries. Okay, now does any tickets has battery life issue? Yes, and you can see yes, some of your tickets have reported battery life issues. For example, 1, 2, and 3, all of, and you can also find the reference of it, the citation 1, citation 2, and citation 3. If you click on citation 1, you can find out the citations. Okay, I'm having an issue with the product purchase. Please assist. I have noticed a sudden increase in battery life on my, and you can find out all the citations, guys, here. Citation 2, and that's coming from your document, the document that you have, the Excel sheet, the customer ticketing system. You can see email, I have noticed a software bug in the product purchase app. It's causing data loss and unexpected errors. How can I resolve this issue? To prevent data loss, upgrade the firmware to this package version, and I have noticed something. So we are able to ask a question, a follow-up question, and in this chat session. Okay, now what you can also do, you can also have deploy to a new web app option. Now when you click on this, you can see it says create a new web app. Okay, you can see Azure Active Directory configured with authentication. It may take a few minutes to apply after deployment completes, during which time you will not be able to chat in the app. Please wait 10 minutes, so it will take time, but we will see. Okay, now what we can do, enter a name for the web app. Okay, so ticketing, let's call it for example ticket GPT or something. Okay, this is, for example, if this is your name, select a subscription, so pay as you go, select a resource group. I'm going to AI resource, select a location, and let's have something like East US. Pricing plan, I'm okay with standard for now. Okay, incur my UJ, so I'm just going to click on deploy. It says please wait for web app to deploy. So it's going to take some time. So we are going to deploy this web app, and automatically you will see a web app for you. Okay, it's backend in React or something that you want to do, backend in front end in React and backend in Python. And I'll give you the GitHub repository if you want to change the something in the app, also the guidelines, the branding guidelines, the logo and all. But for this video, I'll just show you that how you can deploy it and use that app. So I'll pause the video here and I will resume once once it gets succeeded. Okay, so if you can see, our app has been now deployed successfully. It says launch web app. Now you can see we also have a view code option where you can use the following code to start integrating your current prompt and settings into your application. Now you can take this and you can basically use it in your existing app. Okay, so let's click on this launch web app. When you click on launch web app, it's takes you to this interface. This interface is basically, I think it's built with React on the front end and Python as a back end. Okay, that's what I think so. And it says this chatbot is configured to answer your questions. Now I'll give you the link of this GitHub repository of this interface or the app. You can just take it and make a lot of changes on the both UI, and also you can make changes from the UX standpoint. Okay, to fit this in your branding guidelines if you're working for any organization, and if you want to utilize the same code base, you can just change the interface the way you want, and you can just have a same backend engine to make inference. Now I'll just ask some questions. So let me just ask the same question. Does any ticket has battery life issues? You can see yes, there are some complaints about battery life issues in the retrieve document. So now what I'm trying to do here, guys, I'm trying to show you that how you can build it. You can build something like this. If you see here, I asked a question, does any ticket has battery life issue? It's a natural language query, okay, that I'm making here, and I'm getting a response which is very human like. If I ask the same question, so let's ask the same question to cognitive service. Okay, so what I can do here, guys, in my data index, if you see, okay, I'll just replace this and ask the same question, does any ticket has battery life issue? It will give me the response, okay, in a JSON format, which is a cognitive search that I am making. It's like a search, similarity search that we make, okay, in this case. Now, what if you see in this case, what we are doing, okay, on Azure, and the reason we are using Azure is because Azure is the primary cloud provider. If you're working for any organization, your data is already on Azure, then you can utilize cognitive service, okay, to fuel the LLM. You are just enhancing the capability of a large language model, okay, and everything remains your Azure VPC, Azure Virtual Private Cloud. Nothing is going outside, okay, and of course you have to look at the subscriptions, and there are different subcomponents like network, subnet, etc. But at most occasions, your data will be private. It doesn't go out of that region, that infrastructure. So that's why it is important to fuel the LLM with the power of cognitive search. But here you are just getting the response back, which is already in that Excel file. Okay, you are not getting a human-like conversation. But here, if you see, in this case, you are getting yes, there are some complaints about battery life issues in the retrieve document. I also have references. It also gives you citations. Source citation, so you're getting a source document. Okay, like you can see all the ticketing citations that we have: citation 3, citations 4, citations 5. I'm having an issue with this, please assist, something like that, right? You're also getting it, right? So you're getting the source citations that, okay, you make sure that these are being retrieved from the same Excel sheet. Okay, now probably there are some problems with this, but so let's ask this, list down some common issues in my tickets, rather. I'll show you also the limitations of this app, because we have to be very honest when we are creating this kind of videos. Okay, I'll just show you what the limitations. I'll just show you the limitations I'm talking about. Okay, you can see it gets some common issues in the tickets include payment issues, technical issues, hardware issues, account access, billing requeries, and cancellation requests. Now, if you click on references, you again get citations. You can see all the citations, all the tickets in the right hand side. So you are also getting the tickets from there. That's what we are doing in this case. Okay, and this is good, but there are limitations with this app. Okay, with this current interface that I am using, or the current entire workflow that we have. Sometimes it does not work. Okay, there are issues with this this entire backend engine that we have to basically run this app. Okay, sometimes it's even there is an information, we have to do couple of iterations to make it run, but it works. But there are some issues with the conversational memory and all, but that makes sense. It's okay. So this is what I wanted to do in this video, guys. With the limitations, you can explore limitations, and you can tell me in the comment section that what are the limitations that you face when you're using this kind of application, which is currently on, everything is on Azure. You can see we started with cognitive search service, and then we used a GPT model deployment, and then probably we created this app. So you will let me know what do you think of this basically this entire engine that we have created, the conversational interface. And that's all for this video. The code will be available on the GitHub repository. You can find out the GitHub repository for this, where I will give you this data for your exploration. You can explore the data. I will give you the code for creating the index.py file. I'll give you I'll also fork that, and I'll put that in the same GitHub repository. You can also explore that for this one. So code will be given, and I hope you like the video. Okay, if you like the content I'm creating, please hit the like icon. Please subscribe the channel if you haven't subscribed the channel yet, and please watch the other LLMs video that I have. It might help you, if you are also trying to learn large language model. I am also learning. Everybody is learning, as I said, in this, and we have to help each other. So please help me also learn and grow a bit, and please share the videos and channel with your friends and peers. That's all for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.